Hey you guys, welcome to Storytime. Look, we're in the bedroom, from my bedroom, you guys. So happy 4th of July. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I am off today, thank God. So before we get started, you know the routine. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and click the bell for notifications, and also give the video a thumbs up if you guys enjoy it, and also share the video. You guys, so I got a good story today. I had to get up. I jumped out of the bed. Well, I didn't jump out the bed. I rolled out the bed today to tell you guys this story. Okay, so sorry about Friday, honey. Let me tell you what happened Friday. Hold on. It was situations, y'all. I'm twisting my back, y'all, at work. Twist my back up at work, child. Couldn't hardly walk. I was walking like the hunchback of Notre Dame. It was horrible, you guys. So here we are. Besides all of that, so you guys, I got a good story today. So you guys, I got a good story today, but you have to, now I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're busy and you're trying to watch this video, put it on pause, come back later when you got some time, because you have to follow the storyline, you guys, in order to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this story was told to me by someone that I'm still friends with or what have you. Okay, so if you guys remember the series that I did on the cult series, right, about the church I was in. So I'm still friends with some of the other ministers that used to go there, and we all left at different intervals in our lives or whatever. So about 2 weeks ago, I went and picked up one of the members, and we'll call her Ruby. Me and her call each other nicknames, and it's a long story why her nickname is what it is, but her real name ain't Ruby, but I call her Ruby, and she called me Rube. She called me Rube. Okay, we've been doing this for well over 15 plus years, y'all. That's a whole nother story. It ain't a exciting story, so it ain't nothing to tell about that. Okay, so here we are at the church, right? And so there was intervals of where people or families will come into the church. So say for like the first 2 years, here comes the Smith family. And the Smith family will stay for a couple of years, and then they will suddenly leave. And then here comes another group of people. So by the time Ruby got there, it was probably like the fifth or sixth year that the church had been open. So before Ruby came, there was a group of people, a whole family that had came. There was the mother, which she was a mother because she had children, but she was a mother of the church and a minister. So it was the mother. She brought her 3 adult children with her. She had an older daughter, the next daughter, and then she had a son. The older daughter had 2 sons that were teenagers. The next daughter had about 4 or 5 kids. She had about 4 or 5 kids. And then there was the son, and he had children, but he didn't bring the children with him. You know, they were with their mom. Okay, so here's this big 4 people. Well, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 people and their kids that came. So the church was like really growing at this point. So the pastor, for some reason, he took a liking to the first daughter that had the 2 sons. So the first daughter that had the 2 sons, she was a minister, and the girl could preach. She could go, y'all, like, she could really go. So he took a liking to her. And when I say took a liking to her, I don't mean he just liked her or like I like y'all. No, he was feeling her. Now, mind you, he's married, but he was feeling her. Okay. So a little space of time went by, and he started feeling her. So he would start giving her like all these different accolades and stuff, like unnecessary accolades. You know, everything she did was just hilarious. Or he just found some way to mention her name across the pulpit, or put her over something, or if she did something wrong, he wouldn't like reprimand her or anything. So the wife started taking note that, started noticing you giggling and sniggling too much with her, and why, you always got her name in your mouth. And so there began to be some tension. When I say, when you would come to minister's class or church, you could feel some tension in the room. So the wife, because she's in a higher position than that daughter was, then she would, when he wasn't there, she would do little stuff like say something slick across the pulpit, or if we were doing Bible class and say he wasn't there and she was facilitating Bible class, she would ignore her if she raised her hand. Or if she did acknowledge her and allowed her to give a comment or something like that, her point of view on something that she maybe was teaching on, she would pick apart her answer and just dog it, like cut it up. And so the first lady, the daughter, was like, noticed that she was trying to be funny or whatever. And so what she would do was, when she would leave church, she had a best friend. Now that's Ruby. That's the one that I know too. She had a best friend outside of church. Her name is Ruby. Ruby is not saved. Ruby is from the streets, honey. So she would go back and tell Ruby what this lady, the first lady, was doing to her and how she was treating her, and she's jealous of her and she's mad because I'm a better preacher than her and all of this different stuff, just venting to her friend Ruby instead of, going to the wife and say, hey, what's going on with you? Whatever. She would tell Ruby. Now, mind you, Ruby comes to church one day. Ruby comes to church not trying to, seek the Lord, not trying to, find Jesus and go down in a watery grave and get baptized. Ruby came to church to beat up the first lady. So when Ruby comes to church, Ruby brings another lady with her. We'll call her Yo-Yo. Okay? Follow along. Yo-Yo and Ruby are friends. And Yo-Yo and Ruby knows the entire family. They know the sister, the brother, and the mom. But Yo-Yo used to kick it with the son. So here go Yo-Yo and the son, right? And so Ruby comes to defend her, her friend, because she know her friend can't get smart with the first lady. So she figured, I'm going to step in and get smart with her, and I'm going to beat her up. So she comes to Bible class one day. And so Yo-Yo comes with Ruby because she found out that the brother is there and they had lost touch with one another, and she want to hook back up with him. Y'all get it? Boy, it was some drama, y'all. This right here. I told you, honey, I had to take my little muscle relaxer and roll out the bed to tell y'all this one. Y'all see I'm sitting real stiff and ain't doing a whole lot of movement here today either. Okay, so when Ruby comes to church, she's sitting in the Bible class and she's waiting for it to be over because she's about to catch her in the parking lot. Now, mind you, I didn't know this information until afterwards. I just thought the woman decided she wanted to serve the Lord and come to church. I didn't know why she was there. So while she was sitting there, she said that in her mind she was thinking, this lady don't seem like the type that would do all of what my friend is saying that she's doing to her. And so when they got out in the parking lot, she wanted to beat her up, but something kind of stopped her from beating her up, because she was like, I don't know why. Maybe my friend is exaggerating about what this woman is doing, because I just don't pick that vibe up from her. So lo and behold, Ruby ends up staying at the church. Ruby didn't beat the woman up or nothing. Ruby ended up staying at the church, you guys. Ruby got saved, Ruby got baptized, and the whole 9 yards. So now Ruby and her friend, which is the daughter with the 2 sons, is in the church, and now they both, both of them is minister. The whole thing turned around. So, but then Ruby started seeing some of the slick things that the first lady was doing to her friend, but now that she saved, she can't beat her up. So she just gonna pray on it. Okay, so now let's go here to Yo-Yo and Larry. So Yo-Yo comes and she stays because Ruby stays, and she's friends with all the family. So, sometimes you want to go to church, you want to go with your family, you don't want to be the only person in that church by yourself. So she decided to stay there, and she really, one of her main intentions, found out later on about this, is that she was staying so she can keep an eye on Brother Larry. Ooh! On him. the dude, y'all didn't hear that. Y'all didn't hear that. He ain't never gonna find me no. I'm always telling somebody that blame name, Lord, so she can keep an eye on the brother. Now, mind you, he was like he was in the church, y'all, but he really wasn't in the church. So he still was slipping and dipping and doing little stuff behind the scenes. So he had him a little girlfriend on the outside, and guess what? Now he got him a little sleep buddy on the inside, which was the Sister Yo-Yo that came to the church. So Sister Yo-Yo and him, picked back up, started kicking it, and was boo. You know how they slipping and dipping in the church, so they sleeping together or whatever. So this is how it is in the church for those that may not go to church, or how it is or whatever. But when you fall in sin and you do something you ain't supposed to be doing, or whatever it is, you're supposed to go confess it so that you can get prayed for, and then they talk to you about you not doing it no more. So, like the Catholic people do, they go in the confessional and they tell their little box, and then they tell what they done did, and they do all of this, bless your son, go and sin no more. So she, after a while of her constantly kicking it with that brother, which I don't know his name, with that brother, she felt guilty or convicted by it. And so she goes to tell the pastor what her and him been doing. So she talked to him and asked him, do you want to go with me? Because, I know I've been sleeping with you, but I really want to get right. And then she found out that he was doing other stuff anyways. He was just in the building. He just wasn't processed on out, y'all. He was in the building, and he told her, nah, I'm not going to tell no man what I done did. I'm a man. I just do what I do. You know what I'm saying? And so, but she decided she wanted to get herself together. So she goes to confess to the pastor, right? Baby, I ain't got me nothing to drink, y'all. Like my coffee or whatever. Baby, so she goes. So mind you, I told you a couple of weeks ago I went to go pick up Ruby. So me and Ruby, we go out to eat, and Ruby tells me this story. Honey, so the lady went and made an appointment with the pastor, with the bishop, to talk to him about, I done fell in sin. So she come to the office, right? So now let me pause there. Sister Yo-Yo was a little hot thing in the street. She was just a hot thing. She'll tell you in a minute. I was in them streets. She was a hot thing. That was out of her own mouth. So she was popping. And, she trying to get, slow her roll, get herself together, whatever. It is what it is. So she go to the office to talk to him. And he said, okay, so what kind of sin did you have? And so she was like, sexual sin. And it's like, okay. Now, here, when you tell, now mind you guys, I was a second sister pastor. So whenever anybody would end up falling like in sin and they got sat down, which is, you guys, I don't know if you know what sat down is, but that means you can't do nothing in the church. You just sit down, you come to church, you just learn. You can't sing in the choir, you can't do nothing, no activities, you get sat down. And sometimes it's an extended amount of time. It's 30 days, 60 days, I don't know what it is, or 2 days, who knows. And so normally if somebody was sat down, I would know that they were sat down. He'd be like, hey, so-and-so fell in sin, they're sat down. So if you're ever up there doing the announcements, or you know how you call on another minister to come pray, don't call them because they sat down. And I'm like, okay. So he never really went into no details of what they did. Sometimes he would say sexual sin or whatever. And then most of the time, that's all it was sexual sin, honey. Those folks was repressed sitting up in there. But no men coming in there, wasn't nobody trying to marry nobody. And so the sisters and, and the brothers was shapopping. Okay. That's what happened. It is what it is, So she goes to the office and she tells me it's sexual. And he's like, so normally you say it's sexual. Okay. Well, are you still, this is how it's supposed to go. Child, this thing crooked. Are you still having sex with him? No. How are you going to stay away from it? What things led up to that? What can we get in place so you don't keep falling and doing the same pattern? Or maybe you need to block his phone number. Are you talking to him late at night? Is it, just something that you need to talk about? But normally, when there is a female talking to a male about any type of sexual thing or any type of sin, or even in the office with a male, normally they would have a female counterpart there that would, make sure, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you go to the doctor ain't just in the room with you. If he want to examine you, he brings somebody as a witness, or bring a nurse with him to cover them, so you can't say somebody did something. So first of all, he had nobody in there with him to cover. He's in the office with this woman, and she's talking about a sexual sin, and you're a married man, and you didn't bring like another female minister in there to sit in just to make sure everything go the way it's supposed to go. That's normally how it goes. And then you just say, okay, well, stay away from that, get yourself together, we're gonna pray with you, let's fast, pray for them, and then go ahead and release them, or you sit them down, whatever the consequences is. Y'all, he proceeded to tell her, so what happened? And she was like, I went over his house or whatever, and we, no. What happened step by step? Y'all. She was like, what do you mean? Tell me step by step what happened. She explained to him in details why he's navigating the story. Who was on top? Did you use a condom? How long did it last? Did you go a second round? Did you do... Y'all know what... I said, what? Child, me and Ruby was out eating at the hibachi crib where she was telling me that, child, I like to slug my fried rice. I said, girl, you are like... She said, nope. I said, what? I said, how do you know? Because when Sister Yo-Yo left the office, she called Ruby and told her that she had the most, what word did she use? Uncomfortable experience. And he had her explain, y'all, blow by blow, hug by hug, kiss by kiss, what happened. And I said, why would she give details? She said, because he told her to. I'm not going to give you details. I'm like, look, it was what it was. You grown, put your imagination there. It ain't for me to tell. I said, was he fantasizing about her? And I'm thinking, where was his hands at when she was talking or whatever? And I'm like, oh my God. And then he proceeded to go tell the preacher lady with the two sons. Now, mind you, that her and that brother, which I don't know his name, they brothers and sisters. The pastor went and told the sister what they did. Let me tell you, first of all, if my brother is grown, he do what he want to do. Second of all, I don't want to hear nothing about no sexual escapade that my brother, my sister, or my children have ever in life. It's just, that is gross, that is inappropriate, that is whatever. But you decided to go tell it. You're not supposed to tell what somebody tell you in that office. That is confidential. But you weren't supposed to ask her all them questions neither. And I'm like, was he, getting his jollies? He had to be in. When I tell you, y'all, I was flabbergasted. And after that, the sister was like, I can't come back. But you done gave, my thing is, honey, I'm not telling you that. Honey, I don't care who you are, what position you in. You could be the Obamas. I don't care whatever the highest position is. You can be, who's the man that Biden? I don't care who it is. I'm not giving you no details of what took place on this bed. Now, if I'm going to confess, okay, I did it, but you're not going to get blow by blow. Y'all, I was outdone. So after that, she ended up sliding out and leaving the church because she didn't know how to, I guess, he don't know what you did. And he knew she was kind of loose in the street. So it was a lot that happened. But that's your freaky business, not nobody else's. And she was so ashamed. You're already, let me share something with you. If you're ever have to tell something that you did, it takes a lot for you to go and confess something. I don't care on what level, to confess something. And that's something personal. But to go and have to give details of it is almost humiliating. That's nasty. That's, you vulgar for asking her that. And she couldn't face him after that, knowing that he knew what she did. Y'all, so all I know was she got up and she left. And you look up and you're like, where's Sister So-and-so at? And then after some time on that, then the whole family ended up leaving. Because it got to be so much tension with the wife not liking the first daughter, and then him liking the first daughter, that it made the second sister with the 4 kids begin to rise up, because you coming for my sister, which the first lady used to keep, she kept coming from, it escalated from there. And then he would do stuff to make her mad, but use her to make her mad. So it was a whole lot of friction and tension. And the mother, who was, their mom, was just like, this is not what it's supposed to be. And I remember days of being in Bible class or ministers meeting, and honey, they was in there arguing. I remember them standing up, honey, going back and forth. It was ugly. It used to be a showdown. It wasn't a minister's meeting. It was just it was like a brawl. It was like arguments and accusations every single time we had one. They came with their questions and their game plan of what they're going to say, and she came with hers and he came with his. Y'all, a few times I didn't even go. I stopped even going. I was like, I'm not going, because I'm not about to sit here for 2 hours while y'all go back and forth when everybody wrong. He wrong for liking her. The first daughter, you wrong because you playing games with him, because you making this woman jealous. And now she's wrong because she's retaliating, but it's really your man you should be having a conversation with. Honey, it was a mess. It was when I say a mess. And eventually it got to the point that it was so bad that that whole family, the friends, even Ruby and everybody. I don't think Ruby left right then. Ruby probably left like 6 months after they did. And they all just end up leaving. And by that time, there was another cycle of people that had left out. And now the church is just empty. But y'all, I said, oh, I didn't know this now. I knew a lot was going on, but that part, girl, freaky, horrible. Keep your shenanigans and your mess out the church. If you want to be nasty, if you want to do what you want to do, if you want to hustle people for their money, if you want to sleep around, if you want to do all of those things, do you, boo. But don't come in the church, put on a robe, gather up people to play games with. And one thing I grew up on, you guys, is to have respect for the church. Now, this was back in the day, because people don't know more. And maybe some things was heard of back then, but not to the degree that it is so brazen like it is now. But I remember when being a kid, when you walked past the church, you didn't cuss in front of a church. You didn't drink on the steps of a church, and you didn't spit in front of a church. It just was unheard of to do those type of things, because you had some type of reverence. But because, not all, but because we're seeing a lot of leaders that are doing some of the same things that people in the street are doing, then people don't have that respect like that no more. And people run from that because they feel like you're doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm sleeping with people out here and doing, hustling people. You doing it, you just doing it as a man of the cloth. And then when you have people that are really trying to be right in church, you catch the flack of it, because now everybody thinks everybody that's in there is doing it. They think all the sisters are loose. They think all the brothers are sleeping with them. They think all the pastors are a certain way. And it's not true. But when you have that sitting out there, and you have people that won't do right, ain't trying to do right, and caught up in themselves, then that's the picture that's painted. You guys, freak a leak. Freak! Child! I had to tell y'all that story right there. I said, let me get up out of bed. I'm about to go back to bed because take one of these little pills here real quick. I got to go back to work tomorrow. Take one of these pills so my back will be right. Hot mess, honey. You guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up and also share the channel. We upload it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm not going to say if there's situation complication, because it seems like when I make that announcement, there'll be some situation complication. Everything is going to go well this week, you guys. And there's going to be videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. Watch what I tell you. You guys have a great 4th of July. Don't pop off too many firecrackers. They've been popping firecrackers since Saturday. I guess they're practicing. So tonight is the night, you guys, for all the escapades. Be safe out there. Eat lots of barbecue and have a good day. Peace.